Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and Tite-Reach, the company that's known for making unique fastener holding tools like this, is now offering a set of extractor wrenches. They call this the EveryBolt, and it's designed basically for rough or rounded edges on different kinds of fasteners. And what's interesting about it is it's designed to grab a hold a lot better than, say, a conventional wrench like this. And I did come across that, and I'll get to that in a sec. But anyway, this is a snap-on double box end offset. They call this a deep offset. Not quite as deep an offset. You know, this is a 60 degree, this is a 45 degree, so maybe this is a shallow offset, I don't know. But anyway, this is about 65 bucks. This entire set here from Tite-Reach is about 82 bucks on Amazon. And you can see there are also eTorx numbers on these. So if we actually look at the chart right here, you can see this is designed to fit hexes from 6mm all the way up to 19mm, 12-point fasteners from 6 to 19, and then for the external torques or the eTorx, E8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. So it's got a lot of stuff covered, and it does work well. I was doing a brake job, and one of the caliper bolts, well, it was getting a little sloppy, and I was using a Capri offset wrench, similar to this. It's actually in my brake kit. I have a kit, a special box full of all the tools I use for brake jobs. But anyway, I noticed compared to all the others, there was a lot of slop. So I knew I was kind of at that edge. In fact, here's a video that shows that. The Capri wrench, and it wasn't Capri's fault, it worked great on everything else, but basically it was causing me a little concern because I didn't want to round off that bolt, because then, you know, it opens up a whole nother big mess that you got to deal with. But anyway, I put this right here, the Tite-Reach 14 on it, and it just grabbed a hold of it, and it was rock solid, as you can see here in the video. Went from a bunch of movement to almost no movement, and then I was able to wiggle that thing, get it ready to go, and then pop it out. So anyway, if we take a look at the design of this, it's kind of interesting. Let me throw a little light back here so you can see what's going on. So this is the patented design, or patent pending design, and you can see it's kind of unique compared to, say, traditional snap-on design here, which is almost more, you know, 12-point, like a spline almost. But what I'll do is I'm going to throw a couple of bolts in here, and then you can compare how the light gets through. See if I can get this to work. So you can see there's the snap-on. It's pretty conventional. It looks like the snap-on advertisements, but this one's a lot different. See that? The way that thing grabs a hold. Pretty wild. Right in there. And then that actually can deal with rounded fasteners. It can deal with fasteners that are you know, missing some edges or corners, or maybe even just real rough surfaces. But right there you can really see how that holds on. Anyway, so what do we have? Well, a good set of wrenches that you can use as wrenches, or you, of course, because they grip so well, you can use them for conventional things, but they are more for extractors, and there are other extractor wrench sets out there. But for the price and for the breadth of this, from little tiny 6mm down there all the way up to 19, and for the eTorxes, you know, that's worth it. Having this, especially if, you know, that's what I was up against. You know, the cost in both time, effort, and the, of course, money, if I had stripped out a caliper bolt. I mean, maybe I would have reground the edges and just tried to fix it myself, but you're just asking for trouble. And that's where, before I strip something out, or if I notice, and that there's some certain things that are always ready to go. You know, things, they just don't last. And what I realized is, if I can tell just by the feel of a conventional wrench, you know, to quit while I'm ahead and then move on towards an extractor set, something like this. And, you know, that's actually where it works quite well. You know, preventing things from getting worse too. So you can see they've got rounded off corners, rough edges, eTorx, and then just general fastener use. So if you don't have a set of these things, you know, this style of wrench. They used to be really popular. I see them in a lot of old tool kits, and then they kind of went out of vogue. But there are certain jobs where these are just outstanding. Batteries, I use them all the time. Car batteries, vehicle batteries, obviously brakes. They're just perfect for that. You know, just dropping right in behind stuff. But now the extractor side of this will hopefully prevent, you know, another catastrophe, you know, because what I started noticing, especially when I was using a powered ratchet, is it's very easy to not have that seat quite right. And if you're already, you know, working with a damaged fastener, and then maybe you grind it a little bit more with something else, you can really make a mess of stuff. And that's where some of these things for both the extractor bolt kits, the, you know, various kinds of different technologies to grab things. Well, here is another one. And if you don't have a set like this, both in the offset wrenches, it's a win there. And you've got now an extracting wrench set. Even better. Let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.